नमस्कार, सत श्री अकाल, आदाब और खम्मा गणी दोस्तों। सुनाओ अपनी कहानी, बनाओ अपनी पहचान की इस मुहिम में एक बार फिर हाजिर है हम एक नई और दिलचस्प कहानी के साथ। दोस्तों, ये कहानी है रोहन गायकवाड़ की जिंदगी के बारे में। आपको बता दें, पुणे के रहने वाले रोहन गायकवाड़ एक पॉडकास्ट प्रोड्यूसर है। जी हाँ, इनके पॉडकास्ट का नाम है द ब्रेक थ्रू पॉडकास्ट। इसके अलावा ये एक डीजे भी हैं दोस्तों, जो अपने ही ट्रैक के साथ डिस्को म्यूजिक बजाते हैं, जो इन्होंने खुद ही प्रोड्यूस किए हैं। तो ये तो हुई इनकी प्रोफेशन की बात। अब आइए आपको बताते हैं कि आखिर इस फील्ड में एंटर करने का आइडिया इनके मन में कैसे आया। दोस्तों, ये बचपन से ही अपने घर में वेस्टर्न और रॉक म्यूजिक सुनते सुनते ही बड़े हुए। इसके अलावा इनकी पूरी फैमिली स्पोर्ट्स में भी हमेशा से ही आगे रही है। तो ऐसे में बचपन से ही इनका भी खेल और संगीत से गहरा लगाव रहा है और इसीलिए इनमें भी एक स्पोर्ट्समैनशिप थी और यही कारण रहा कि ये भी एक फुटबॉलर है। बाद में इन्होंने म्यूजिक फील्ड में एंटर किया और अपना करियर इसी में बनाने का फैसला किया। जी हाँ दोस्तों, आज ये एक पॉडकास्ट प्रोड्यूसर एंड डीजे बनकर डांस एंड म्यूजिक फ्रेटर्निटी का हिस्सा बन चुके हैं। आपको बता दें, इनके माता पिता ने इन्हें बड़े ही नाजों से पाला है। जी हाँ, बड़े लाड़ प्यार से इनकी परवरिश हुई है। कभी भी इनके पेरेंट्स ने इन पर अपनी सोच नहीं थोपी और ना ही किसी चीज के लिए इन पर दबाव बनाया, बल्कि हमेशा इन्हें अपने सपनों को पूरा करने की इजाजत दी। पेरेंट्स के सपोर्ट की वजह से ही आज ये अपनी रुचि के क्षेत्र में प्रवेश कर पाए और आज अपने इस क्रिएटिव फील्ड में ये बहुत बेहतर कर रहे हैं। दोस्तों, ये मानते हैं कि हमें एक ही लाइफ मिली है, ऐसे में हमें हर वो चीज़ करनी चाहिए जो हम करना चाहते हैं। इसी सोच के साथ ये आगे बढ़ रहे हैं और नई नई चीज़ें कर रहे हैं। दूसरों को भी ये अपने ड्रीम्स एंड पैशन को फॉलो करने के लिए इंस्पायर कर रहे हैं। तो दोस्तों, रोहन गायकवाड़ की ज़िंदगी से जुड़े ऐसे ही दिलचस्प किस्सों और अनुभवों के बारे में जानने के लिए चलिए अब हम सीधा इन्हीं से मिलते हैं और सुनते हैं पूरी कहानी इनकी अपनी जुबानी।
So hey guys, my name is Rohan. I'm based out of Pune. I am a full-time podcaster. I have a podcast called the Breakthrough Podcast, which is particularly directed towards the dance music and the nightlife scenario in India, and also we have a lot of global audiences in terms of our audiences. Apart from my podcast, I'm also an active DJ. I DJ by the name Breakthrough. I play a lot of house music, a lot of disco music, and apart from that, I also have a couple of tracks that I've produced. So all in all, that's just my story so far. So talking about my childhood, I believe I come from very privileged family. So growing up, I was extremely pampered. I was the last of three children, three boys, and my parents wanted me to be a girl, and they didn't obviously get me. So they gave me all the love and all the pyar that they could give me. In terms of the whole creative field, I come from a Catholic family background where we've been listening to a lot of Western, a lot of rock, alternative rock kind of music every Sunday. From church, there used to be great food and great music. And we come from a family where there's been a lot of music, there's a lot of partying around. Also in terms of not just that, but also in terms of sports, my family, my parents, my mom and dad both were great sportsmen in their times. My dad actually used to play basketball semi-pro. My brothers were all fantastic footballers. I myself, my first job in fact was playing football. I was a professional footballer. So that's the childhood. I think my parents always gave me a go ahead in terms of doing whatever I wanted to do, whatever makes me happy. I remember a lot of my early days of my college, I used to go travel to a lot of cities, go for a lot of parties, and I told them that one day I might be a DJ and I want to make music. And they always supported me. I mean, they never saw any. They obviously know the bad parts or the bad, influences that happen in the whole partying culture. But they were really open with it because they took it. They were pretty progressive in terms of what I wanted to do. I remember quite a vivid memory of my childhood where my cousin sister asked me, what do you want to do once you grow up? I was very small and I don't usually remember a lot of things from my childhood. And she asked me, what do you want to do when you grow up? And I don't know why, but I told her I want to be a music director. And this is what, 94, 95, where all we were spoon fed was doctor, engineer, cricketer probably. And I don't remember, because whenever there used to be a lot of movies, I used to always look at who's made the music, and I used to always look, music director, Adesh Srivastav, A.R. Rahman, Anu Malik, and so I was like, yeah, this is something really cool. I see myself being a music director. I mean, now I mean, that term is kind of gone. There's no music director. It's just, a composer and background. So yeah, that's about my childhood. Yeah. For my corporate life, I've always made it very clear that I want to have a very structured, fixed income that comes to me, because I believe in a certain lifestyle that I've chosen for myself, and I do not ever want to kind of degrade or downgrade on that particular side. So I've always been very particular that whatever I do, I need to have a minimum of 4 to 5 sources of income. So that's a majority of my my earnings come from my job that I have, like I told you, the full-time job that I have. And when it comes to the creative side and how do I merge things up, I very early in my life I realized that you don't need 8 hours of sleep. Even 6 hours of sleep is good enough. And I feel that there is this term called YOLO. It's a new millennial term called YOLO. You only live once. I genuinely believe this, because I'm not sure अगले जन्म में क्या होगा, what will happen next time. I feel extremely grateful to the person that I am. I mean, I'm very happy to be in this body, because I see a lot of talent that has been given to me by God. I mean, just been so lucky in terms of the education I've got, the family that I've come from. Some things have just come to me naturally, and the way I think as well. I'm constantly thinking about something or the other. I'm constantly thinking of creating something. I'm constantly, thinking of what do I do next? What do I do next? It is a bit tiring. I get this from a lot of people. A lot of my family members think I work too hard. I try too hard, but I genuinely feel that I've got this one life. I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this as well. Okay, मुझे ये भी करना है, I want to do this as well. Sometimes I can't manage it as smoothly as I can, but I make sure that I do that. In terms of work, I belong to an industry where my alter ego, my DJing, my music has been appreciated. I've crossed boundaries. My company has been very supportive of what I do. They in fact almost brag about me doing so many other things apart from my job. But I always believe that if the creative side is there, there's also another side, which is consistency. Where the work that I do cannot affect my creative field, because then it's not fun. Then it's I feel it's not going to be fun if you can just do one thing. I mean, I just figure out that I come back from work, I have enough time to kind of do some things. I can pull some straight night long long nights. If work has to be done, it has to be done. And the journey's been great. I see a lot of fruits when it comes to the podcast, when it comes to my job. I've been very fortunate to be in a great company, and I've seen the fruits. I've seen my hard work being given back to me in cash and kind. And same with my podcast, same with my music. Although it's not that hugely popular or big, I constantly daily get messages saying they love my podcast, they love my music. I get people messaging me from US who have no idea about what's going on in India, but they love me, and that's just something which motivates me. I mean, I feel if I can do this. And I think my audience is very, very, very patient, and they understand the person that I am. And a couple of weeks, I skip a couple of episodes because I'm actually genuinely very, very busy that week. And my people know, they understand. They know that this guy is doing something else as well. And yeah, it's been great fun merging it. When it comes to choosing between both of these things, I usually give a lot of preference to my bread and butter, my job, because I cannot take for granted someone who's giving me a constant amount of money, irrespective of things go up and down. And our creative field is something which is very uncertain, and very blessed to have a full-time job, a fixed job during especially this phase, because you gotta you get food on the table. And so when it comes to choosing between both of these, I make sure that my creative field, my music, my DJing, all of these things come around it, and that's why I even love it. When it comes to specifically in terms of music, since I do not solely need to depend on financially on my creative side or my music, I can be a bit picky and choosy. So I can create a niche for myself. I can play the music that I want to play. I can go out and say, what, I can't do this show because it's not fitting into what I want to do. So I'm a bit privileged, like I said, in that I'm extremely privileged to have both of these things working out. and that's the only reason we've kind of survived so far in the DJing space, because for me, in the category that we're targeting in the premium clubs and premium venues, we are very, very choosy at the venues we play, because we don't want to invite our friends and our families to places which we would be ashamed to, to go ourselves. So whenever we're choosing even the venue that we're performing or DJing at, we make sure that the girls are safe, the venue is good, the ambience is good, security is important, and the music is good. So I think merging these things has been difficult, but I mean, I'm doing it so far, so I think I can continue doing that myself. So in terms of the mistakes I made, I think the number one mistake, not just me, everyone or majority of the people in India do is not taking care of their investments, their financial stability at a very young age. I remember earning a lot of money at the age of 18, 19, 20 to 24 even, in fact, and living paycheck to paycheck. I had no liabilities, I had no reason to spend that much money, but I just spent that money and lived on for the next salary, paycheck to paycheck. And I realized that that was so stupid of me to do, because if I'd saved that money, I would have been in a much better position in terms of education. I mean, I could have invested all of that money in some good education, which would have helped me in the long run. That's the first mistake which I've corrected. I'm big time into saving money, investments, mutual funds and stocks and everything. This is something I've done very, very late. And if anyone's looking around in terms of the power of compounding, I've missed 10 years of saving money, which I would have been in a couple of lakhs already. But I've already started nonetheless. That's one mistake. The number two mistake would be that I did not spend that much time on education in terms of what I wanted to do in the future. I remember, when Vines, there was a thing called Vines which came on very early, was there, very popular in US. And I used to make these Vines. These are like these 10, 12 second funny videos. And I was really popular at that time. But I did not foresee the future that, probably TikTok or Reels or social media would be a career. And that Vines was just left there, and now I feel that I could have definitely done really great in that, in the whole content creation space. But now it's too saturated, and I'll just be someone who's just trying too hard to get into that space. But if I'd educated myself, if I'd read more, if I'd learned to see what the future would be there, if I'd just picked up these cue points that life gave us, ki ye kar sakte hai, this might happen, I didn't do that. And I think that's one of the biggest regrets I have. So number one would be in terms of the financial stability and saving money and all of those things. And number two would be not learning enough. Even in terms of music production, I'm still learning, but back in the day, when you're 17, 18, 19 years old, that's when you have no liabilities. You can be in the studio, practice your art for the longest time, for 10 hours, 12 hours. Now it gets very difficult for me to go and make a track because I need to invest a certain amount of hours in the studio. And there's a lot of discovery that happens when you're making music. Now there's so much of pressure that there's so much of pressure of creating a hit that I've not got those opportunities to make those flops. And 18 to 24, 25, you can make a series of flops, and then eventually most of the artists friends that I know right now have dedicated their entire life towards music that time, and now they're making some amazing music. So these 2-3 things which I would definitely say I made these mistakes. Success to me has been so subjective over the years I've grown. Now I'm just shy of 30, and life has kind of come to I've kind of understood life so far. Initially success was like everybody. For me, success was paisa, bahut sara paisa, ghar, ye, wo sab, all of those things. But now for me, I would say as an individual, success would just be happiness. I genuinely seek happiness. I love money. Money is a huge motivator. You could say I genuinely love money, but there is that differentiator saying कि जो पैसा है he is not going to get happiness, जिसको happiness है उसको पैसा नहीं मिलेगा. I would say I want to be rich enough to not worry about the right side of a menu card when I'm watching when I'm eating food, or I do not need to go to any shop and my wife or my fiance will have to think over something. I want to have enough money that I can live a luxurious life, because I genuinely believe in living life king size, living it in the right way. There's no other way for us to live life, So for me, success would just be reaching out to many people, touching lives, Specifically in terms of the podcast, my only success mantra would be if I have a certain number of people. It's not in terms of thousands. There's no certain number, but if there is a certain number of people, even if it's in hundreds, if they are touched by my episode, that is success to me. I'm not someone who's been running behind views. And if I get this person, I will get more views on my podcast. I've never done that. I mean, if you go back to my podcast, of course, there are a couple of people who've achieved a lot in life and they are successful and they have those numbers. But the conversations are not directed towards that person who's done it. That the conversation is about someone who's on his way to do it. So coming back to your question, for me, it's not about कि कितने लोग सुनेंगे, कितने downloads, कितना पैसा. It's about how many people, and genuinely, people say this, it sounds a bit cliche, but I genuinely started this podcast to inspire other people. I feel that creating a podcast, producing a podcast doesn't come easy. It's a big struggle. You can't do it week in, week out. You can't do it alone. I have a team that helps me now. I have a team which has a similar vision like mine. But it's about touching people where they come back to me and say, what, this part you said I like, this part you said I don't like. And for me, more than that, I get more influenced, I get more inspired by my guests more than my audience. So it's a bit selfish for me to do that, but so success in terms of the podcast is, like I told you, touch many people. Success in terms of DJing, again, I don't want to be playing festivals and doing those things. I genuinely want to be that person who's known for playing good music. I mean, even if I'm very happy doing one show a month in one city a month, but I want to be known for the person who plays good music, a person who will play music to you that you've not heard. You go back home, learn something. And in terms of my professional career, I just want to come back home and not be bothered about work. I want to come back home, probably pet my dog or my cat. I don't have a pet yet, but probably do that. Spend some time with my family and not bother about any vacation I want to go to. I want to have enough money that me and my family are safe, secure, eating good food. I do not want to be an Ambani. I do not want to be a billionaire. I'm happy with a few millions, if that is all right. So success is just happiness. I want to go back, go back to wherever I came from with a smile on my face. I think that's the least I can ask. So my advice to someone who wants to get a job and get into the corporate advice, number one advice would be, don't get a job. If you can figure out being an entrepreneur, if you can figure out starting your own business, and if you can do that very early in your life, do that. I'm someone who deep down want to start my own company, start my own business, and that's the spirit that's not there in India as much as it should be. We all have been trained to work for someone. We've been trained to become a doctor. We've been trained to become an engineer. We've been trained to get a good job, bada package. I hate those terms, package, placement milega, wo milega. It's very, very, it's very, very structured. It's very fake. So number one advice, if you're 17 years old, 18 years old, and people are changing, the next generation is already there. I have nephews in my family and they want to probably open a Bitcoin mining company. So I would suggest to you guys is, first figure out, do your basic education just to be safe, just to convince your parents. But a BCom hasn't done good to me. I don't remember half the subjects I've entered in BCom. I've done my master's in marketing, hasn't done great, anything good to me. I would say first thing is, figure out what you really love and try setting up a business, try doing something in the direction of being an entrepreneur, because if you do that, trust me, you will never ever have to work again. If you really genuinely love what you're going to be doing, you'll never have to work. If that calling doesn't happen, I would say it's a calling, or if that opportunity doesn't come to you, or you don't successfully create a company or a business for yourself, if you're going to get into doing a job, number one would be, there's no substitute for hard work. Work hard, work really, really hard. Number two advice I would give in today's day and time is multitasking. You cannot be just doing one. If you are working probably in the IT sector, figure out how else can you add value to your boss. How else can you add value to this company? How else can you make someone's job easier? Always constantly think of doing two things, three things. And at this time and age, you need to make sure that you're juggling with both your hands. If you're looking for something in the creative field, I would say start early. decide what you want to do. If you're looking at becoming a singer, there are several avenues of being a singer. There's a playback singer, there's a live artist, so there's separate ways. Understand what is your avenue in your particular art. If you want to be an artist, you can be probably a painter, or you can probably do something in terms of graphic. If you love art, it's not that you have to only start making paintings like these. You can probably do that on a digital format as well. You can probably do that on an offline format as well. You can do it for advertising as well. So know your calling first, and I would say put as much as energy as you can, put as much as time as you can in terms of learning the art. Like I said, in India, we do not spend time being experts. We spend time कि मुझे ये भी करना है, ये भी करना है, ये भी करना है, ये भी करना है. But we're not experts of anything. Like if you take a doctor, they study 4 years, 5 years for their whatever course, and then they go abroad to study a specialization of the specialization that they had chosen. And that's how they earn those millions and crores and stuff. So I would say invest time. There are a lot of platforms, online, offline. There are a lot of people who are helping to reach out. I mean, I know so many people who I can just pick up a phone and ask me, "Kaise karte hai, bro? I don't know how to do this," and they are open to help. So I would say if you're doing anything in the creative field, there are many people specifically in India. For you to be number one in anything in India, it's extremely difficult. To be the laziest person also in India, you will have so much competition. So if you want to make a name for yourself, you have to literally be the best at it. So I would say invest a lot of time in education. Invest a lot of money if you want in education. If you feel thoda paisa dal ke I should learn this, do that. It will definitely help you. In terms of having a mentor, I'll be very honest. I never had a mentor. I never needed one. The day I got my first job, I knew that I wanted to make myself known in this organization. I want to make myself known in this company. I want to make something out of myself. I never paid that much attention to be number one in my school or in my college or in my in my educational field. But then I realized life is different. So in terms of mentorship, no one really said ki ye karo, wo karo, it'll be great for you. I mean, no one. In terms of my family, in terms of my friends, in terms of my colleagues, I never really had that one person who was a mentor to me. But I made sure that I will be that mentor to 10 people. So whoever's working with me, who are closely working with me, the 3-4 people who are closely working with me have come down from the roots. They've grown in the organization while I was there and while I've been there. So I take it very personally to mentor a lot of people. Some people might take it as chalo gyan de raha hai. Some people might take it in a nice way. I don't force myself onto them. I very carefully choose who is the person who I should invest my time into. I am not someone who's openly giving out free classes or free learning. If I feel this one's got potential, if I feel this one is like me, I will put in that effort to make sure that I help them. And I'm very honest. I mean, I will never show you only the good side. I'll tell you the bad and the good, that life has. So I try to do that as a mentor. In terms of DJing as well, a few people might not like it, but I don't really feel that there's been a mentor. I feel I've carved my own path. Of course, I've had inspirations. I've seen a lot of artists from India. I've seen a lot of people from India who are in the DJing space and have done great. I have a lot of friends who've bounced back ideas with me, and they've taken and given me good critical feedback. But I never see anyone ki chalo, I want you to be the next big thing. But again, I have a brother of mine. His name is Pushkar. He's a younger cousin brother of mine. I see that in him. I see him be a very big star. Probably be very famous and popular. And I am that person. I have confidence in him more than I have it in me. And when this one's gonna shine. So like I said, in the DJing space as well, I don't think I've had a mentor, because I knew this is what I want to do and I carved my own path. But I definitely I feel I am mentoring my cousin brother Pushkar, because I genuinely feel he is extremely talented and he's going to do great for himself. In my free time, my chill time, my me time, I'm a huge Govinda fan. I can watch any of Govinda's movies at any time, during any hour, during any time of the movie. I will watch it and I will love it. So that's something which I can only do alone, because people laugh at me. They think ye pagal hai, ye kaisa hai, waisa hai. But I genuinely really love Govinda. dil se. I mean, if I would ever get a chance to meet Chichi Bhai, I would love to, because I just love that whole Kader Khan Govinda fight. I love that whole scenario. But on a serious note, somewhere I get real good peace when I'm alone, or when I want to get time for myself. I play football. I genuinely love football, and I've always had this. I think when someone asks me what's the happiest moment in your life, there have been great things that have happened in life, but for me the happiest moment is when I score a goal. That moment when the ball goes inside the goal and I'm the one who's done that, and my teammates come and surround me and cheer me up. I feel that's when I'm like, that 0.5 seconds is the happiest feeling of my life. No one can take it away from me. So that's my happy space. Govinda is my happy space. Recently I like traveling, and whenever I'm traveling on the bike or the car, I love listening to a lot of podcasts. I love listening to a lot of YouTube stuff that's going on in my ear, and I like to listen to a lot of self-motivating kind of books. So that's what I do when I have free time. So some lines which have helped me, which motivate me and stuff like that. I think I have two very important lines. They actually both come from a rapper called T.I., which I genuinely loved, and a couple of these ones are, I think the second one is also in my resume. So it's that's personal. That's how personal it is to me. The first line is, it only takes 2 rules to walk in my shoes. 1, take no shit. Number 2, don't lose. So that's one of the lines which I really, really love. And the other one is, even when winning is illogical, losing is still far from optional. So these two lines, kind of motivate me, saying ki even if the worst is yet to come, still I don't think you're going to lose. It's far from even an option for us. So these two lines, I've always kept them close to my heart. To anyone who's watching this, I think number one thing I would say is don't look for motivation in others. Search for motivation in yourself. If you can motivate yourself, if you can convince yourself of doing something, you do not need any second, third person. You don't need to listen to me. I would say, ask yourself. Your body, your soul, your mind has so many answers, but keep an open mind when you're even answering those questions. Ask those questions to yourself with an open mind, and you'll get those answers with an open mind. So I would say, don't go searching कि मुझे भगवान चाहिए, मुझे कोई motivation चाहिए, मुझे कोई mentor चाहिए. That's not going to happen. No one owes their time to you. Okay, so make sure that you're seeking these answers yourself, and always make sure that you try to help, try to be good to people, try to kind of make sure that you be good to people. And I genuinely feel it comes back in some or the other way. I mean, I genuinely, if there was a religion, this would be my religion. Do good to people. Something is definitely going to work. I mean, that's just what I believe, that some things will definitely come back to you if they have to. And number 3, very, very important, don't spend so much time comparing yourself with others. Don't compare to other people's lives. Don't compare to their successes. Don't compare yourself to their failures. Everyone's running their own game. Everyone's running at their own pace. Everyone's designing their own life. So there's no point spending your time on Instagram and thinking, yaar, sab holiday pe ja rahe hain, sab ye kar rahe hain. It's not going to work out for you. So spend a lot of time asking these questions to yourself, and just help figure out a way to motivate yourself. And if you're watching this, please don't be afraid or ashamed to ask for people for help. If you feel that someone can give you a better opportunity, sometimes even a plain cold email will work. I've met so many people in my life who've done great things, and asked them, how do you do it? Yeah, how did you get to play in another country as a DJ? I just sent an email. That's all I did. So even there's a guest on my podcast. He's a very popular DJ. His name is DJ NYK. He's a very, very famous DJ in India, and I've sent him 7 mails. And today, this morning, he sent me, and I've sent him 4 reminders. And this morning, he sent me a mail saying, Rohan, I'm extremely sorry that I've been delaying your responses for such a long time. But this only shows how perseverant you are, how you really want me on the podcast. I will definitely give you a date. And he trusts me now, that if I had the patience to wait for 7 months, 8 months, it's not the numbers, it's not anything else. I genuinely want to have a conversation with this person. And I sent him a mail in 2 lines. Hey XYZ, hope you're doing fine. Just want to know if you can do this podcast whenever you're free. I sent that to him once. He sent me like such a big email saying, I appreciate that you're doing this. I appreciate that you're really working hard. Very few people do that, especially artists are not that patient. You're really, really patient. So I will definitely do this. I promise you, and I will do this. And I'm pretty sure he's going to do it. If he forgets in August, I'll send him another email. That's all I'm going to do. So yeah, that's about it.
दोस्तों, ये थी एक फेमस पॉडकास्ट प्रोड्यूसर एंड डीजे रोहन गायकवाड़ की कहानी। ऐसी ही प्रेरक कहानियां रोजाना सुनने के लिए हमारा चैनल सब्सक्राइब करें और बेल आइकन जरूर दबाएं। और दोस्तों, अगर आज की ये कहानी आपको पसंद आई है तो इसे लाइक, कमेंट और शेयर करना ना भूलें। जी हाँ, अब आप भी बन जाइए भारत की प्रोफेशनल कम्युनिटी की आवाज और सुनाओ अपनी कहानी, बनाओ अपनी पहचान की इस मुहिम से जुड़कर। अपने जीवन के अनुभवों, करियर यात्रा, अपने उत्पादों एवं सेवाओं के पीछे की वास्तविक कहानी से देशवासियों को प्रेरित करें और अपनी एक नई पहचान बनाएं। Tell your story, inspire and build your brand with the power of video. जय हिंद, जय भारत।